Hello, everyone. This is Ashish. Welcome back to the podcast. Again, making your weekends better, bringing your week with a new momentum. We have a bunch of topics that we can spend some time discussing. I do not know if I'll be able to discuss all of these topics, but I recently did a post on Instagram just asking questions. Wasn't a post, it's a story, technically, but doesn't matter. This time we are going to just pick questions from Instagram. You should know that these days I'm more active on Instagram. The main reason is that Instagram is quicker. YouTube just requires so much time to make a video. So, what I'm doing right now is kind of taking a break from YouTube. That's what I'm doing. But I love you guys so much. I have to be over here kind of like in a weekly basis and answer your questions. Otherwise, you feel like, that talk guy did betray us. Yes, as soon as he did not need us anymore, he just left us, which I'm not going to do. It's a good platform that I've created. Like, it might not be the biggest platform, but I like your presence. And those of you guys who tune in every week, I really appreciate it. Thank you for being over here. Now, if you do not know this, the podcast is available on audio platforms as well, and smartphones already know it. A lot of you guys just listen to it on Spotify or Google Podcast, but YouTube is a platform that even I prefer. Like, until unless that podcast is not available on YouTube, I would not go to any other platform. So I am assuming that a lot of you guys are just listening, because if you have taken like YouTube premium membership or something, you do not need to worry about ads, and it's just playing in the background. It's better than any other audio platform. I do not know why I'm talking about this, because there are a bunch of more interesting topics that needs to be discussed, and this one particular one, that is decision making, is one of those topics that just can be said in one line or two words, but might take hours for proper a discussion, right? And who asked this question? Don't bother, because it is asked by apparently a son of Elon Musk, JK98987. Social media. That's the beauty of it. You can be anonymous, but it's fine. Now, just two words, decision making, but it's a strong topic, and I'm going to discuss it in detail, just like any other topic will be discussed over here. Now, we talk about isolated system a lot over here on art. It's just my mentality. I think in the last podcast itself, where I was talking about a little bit of growth in social media or how to start a podcast and all, I was talking that I do feel a lot of problem in coexisting, like making relationships and all. But that is mainly because of my isolated system ideology. So it is not a perfect mentality, right? It is not going to help you to build a lot of friendship or make a lot of relationships, strong ones. That's the part where I'm weak at. So you are not going to see me ever talking about how to make relationships or how to live better and stuff like that. But where it does work is accomplishing a goal, and that's what you're going to be finding me talking about a lot of times, because of this mentality. And what I'll try to do is open up this idea, which we have done a little bit before, but nothing's going to be repeated. So when the first step of making any decision is isolating yourself from the surrounding, because as long as you're listening to the surrounding, there's going to be so much information, you're never going to be coming down to a conclusion. The worst part about decision making is that most people don't make it, and the reason they do not make it is because they're too terrified of the consequences. What you need to understand is that your life is nothing but a set of experiences that you have had so far. And each and every one of those experiences were somehow or the other judged by the decisions that you made, which was entirely in your hand. It was your decision. Does not matter if you gave it to someone else, which is also a super bad thing to do, which a lot of people again tend to do. But decisions are important. I've always seen life as like a parallel universe, set of parallel universes, right? And what we do is that choose one particular universe while choosing one particular decision. If you do not know the concept of parallel universe, anything that can happen will happen or is happening. Like you right now might be eating food in some parallel universe, you are sipping coffee. All right, you're right now doing engineering in some parallel universe, you're doing modeling. Everything is happening. What we do is that we choose these parallel universes through decisions, and we kind of keep on shifting our path the more decisions we take. The way that I've seen it is, let us say you have to reach over here, the audio people will be having a little bit problem, but what I'm doing is raising my left hand, and you are on the rightmost part. You have to get from right to left. You are going to take some set of decisions which are going to make you tend towards where you want to be, and that might take a lot of decisions and that might take a lot of time, but as long as you are true to the path, you are going to get where you want to get. So decisions are important. I know it's a difficult concept, and a lot of times what I'm trying to do with this podcast is just open up my mind and see if it is helpful for someone or not. So when you're taking these decisions, if you are tainted by the environment, you are never doing what you really want to do. Because see, majority is a great thing. Like that's all about democracy. Like we listen to the majority. But when you're taking the decision, never listen to majority. Majority is a crowd's voice. How can it ever be correct? It's not a singular voice, right? And especially when you are trying to do something different, right? Now this is something that I learned during my competitive examination days back in 2016 and 17. So whenever I used to give an examination, after the examination there would be like thousands of kids around, right? At that day of the examination, let us say examination ended at 6 o'clock, the place will be so stuffed that there will be long queues in the metro station that ranges out of the metro station, like hundreds and hundreds of kids. That many people are giving examinations, right? If you're talking about Delhi area. So in those long queues and that crowd, if you ever ask those other people, how was the examination? Everyone would be saying, it was so difficult, the cutoff will drop this year, this will happen, that will happen. And when the actual result comes out, none of those ever happen. And the people who made it, you never talk to them, because the people who made it were in the minority, right? Majority don't make it. Minorities make it. They're exceptional. They're extremely rare to find. But when you have to take a decision, you would be listening to majority, right? Oh, let me find it out on Quora. Oh, what are most of the people saying? Oh, this college is better. Oh, doing this after college is better. Or getting a job like this is better. Or they say that government job is much better than private job, so I should go. Just listening to the majority, right? And also a lot of times the problem occurs when you're listening to last generation, because their whole ideology and thought process, number one, is formed 20 years ago, and number two, it's not going to change. Because generally, if you don't say generally, you can't say shit, because there's always an exception, right? And a lot of people got mad when I talked about that self-help book thing, which reminds me I have to get into that topic. Better I get into that topic right after this, otherwise I'm going to forget. I'm great at that. A lot of times I'll say in the beginning I'm going to talk about this, I never talk about that. A lot of you guys know about it. So right after I'm going to get into that. Where was I? Yeah. So you cannot talk about exceptions. Exceptions are not examples. So generally, the older generation, they don't change a lot. Like 40-year-old man generally won't change his mind. His mind is made up. If all of a sudden he finds out that everything that he did for the past 30 years was wrong, it's going to snap out. It's going to be painful. So the older people get, they're not going to change their mind a lot. And the closest people to us are generally our family, generally our parents. And a lot of times, like, obviously, I'm not going to repeat it again. Generally, what happens is that their mentality is still 20 years ago. They're going to tell you, like, okay, get a job like this. This is safe. And there was again a question over here, what will be the situation of government jobs in 2030? And the thing is that we don't know. But if we look at the direction it is going right now, there will be barely a handful of government jobs left. But your parents grew up or were young in the 80s, and 100% of jobs at that time was kind of government. So they will think that, oh, this is where what you need to do. But the situation has changed so much in the past 50 years, they can't understand. The thing that you need to understand is that it's not that easy that someone is going to tell you what to do. The thing about life is that nothing is written in stone. You do not know what is correct and what is wrong. There's absolutely no way to find it out. What is correct? What is the correct thing to do for you right now? You don't know. Whether you should go for engineering or you should go for your music career, you do not know. There's no correct answer. Nobody knows. Even if you had a twin brother who grew up in a very similar lifestyle and became like a musician in a particular way by going to Mumbai or something, I do not know. I'm not a musician. Just taking an example. Even if the person who has had the most closest kind of life than your life did something, does not mean if you are going to do the same thing, the outcome will be same. No two lives are same. There's a saying, a man never crosses the same river twice, because it's not the same man, it's not the same river. So even if you yourself do the same thing again, let's say 5 years later, the result might be different. Like if I appear in ISRO examination 5 years after I cracked ISRO examination, does not mean that I'm going to end up All India rank 4 again. Does not mean that. So there are no two set of events which are same. So you can never look at someone and say that he did that or she did that, so I'm going to do that to get exactly that. You have to fabricate your own path. That's the difficult part. That's the difficult part. People want an easier answer. Tell me what to do. When the reality is that you have to make the decision. What do you think is right for you right now? And nobody knows, including everyone who is telling you what is the right path. So stop listening to them and take your chances and make a commitment that I am going to make this decision correct. It's not that it is correct right now. Today I took the decision of becoming an engineer. I'll make sure that my life will be great being an engineer. And if tomorrow I decided to become a musician, I decided that I quitted my job. It's my responsibility now to take set of actions which is going to make my life into a life where I'm a musician. I'm making a good career out of myself, my artist being recognized, and I'm making a living out of it. So the point is that nobody knows, and kind of it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what you decide, because most of what happens to you is not decided by what you decide, but it is decided by what you do after you decide. Like for example, I decided to prepare for Indian Space Research Organization after I got into BARC training school. I might have decided something else as well. I might have decided that, okay, I'm going to focus on my training school right now, get a good posting, and then I'll prepare for ISRO 1 year later. Both the decisions are actually correct. In both the cases, is it not possible that 2 years later I'm going to be an ISRO scientist? Obviously, it is possible in both the cases. But in both the cases, it depends on me. Like, I can fail in first case also, I can fail in second case also. Nobody knows. So that decision doesn't even matter. And that is why it is so stupid that people are terrified so much of making that decision that sometimes they go through this paralysis by analysis and they don't even make a decision. And a lot of times they just go to someone else, like, tell me what I should be doing. And somehow it's so crazy, but they think that whatever someone else is tell them is correct. When the reality is that that person who is saying it is like, kind of do that. And do you think that that person is 100% sure? No, he's just able to say this, that you should be doing this, because his or her life does not depend on it. And it's easier for that person. And that person is not going to go analyze it too much because it's not important for that person. But that person is able to give you what decision you should take is because that person is not thinking much. Does not matter. And the reality is that it does not matter much for you either. Like, people think when it comes to decision is like, if I take this decision, my entire life will be an orthogonal compared to if I take this decision. When the reality is that it's kind of going to be the same because it depends on what you do, and what you do is what you are. Let's take another example. Let us say if after 2016 I did not prepare for GATE to get into IT Bombay for master, but invested a lot of time in GRE and TOEFL and IELTS and decided to go for MS abroad, right? Life will be different, but in both the cases I would be doing engineering itself, right? Or it could have been like if I did not join BARC and joined IIT Bombay, did 2 years of masters and ultimately went for PhD abroad. So it depends on the subsequent actions and decisions. So your decision right now does not matter much. Now I know what you're saying is that, oh Ashish, so we should not learn for others' experiences. Oh Ashish, so we should not listen. Oh Ashish, so we should discover everything and fail thousands of times. Listen to others, but listening to others has one problem. You don't ask the simplest and easiest question, that is, what do you want? If you think about things pragmatically, what do you want goes out of the window. You don't even think about it. But you do need to think about that first. That is why step one should be isolate the system. Ask yourself what you want. Step two can be ask people who are accomplished in the field. Don't ask random people. I've talked to so many people while consulting, and they ask me questions where, oh, I heard this that ISRO job situation is like this, so I'm thinking of not preparing for ISRO examination. And like, who told you that? Oh, my brother's friend's uncle told me that. Like, is he working in ISRO? No, he's actually working in CIL, but he knows a person who knows a person who knows. What the hell? Goes till infinity. Nobody knows who knows what he knows. So ask people who actually experienced it. Don't ask random. Again, they're just going to give you anything. I think this is what happens, and for some reason we always take the information that comes from external source with 100% certainty. Oh, someone else told me, so it must be correct. Like someone told me once that Mexico's population is 1.2 billion. I said, oh wow, Mexico's population is 1.2 billion. It's pretty close to what India's is, right? And I lived with that information for 5 years. It turns out that it's 100,000. I'm sorry, 100,000 million. What is that? It's like one third of America's population. So it's 300 million, right? So it is 100 million. So, right? So I lived with that information so long because someone just told me. So you need to think about how much of what you're thinking is just because some random person giving you random information that he heard randomly from some other place. You need to think about all these things because then you take a decision, and 2 years later you found out, oh no, Mexico's population is not 1 billion, bro. It's actually 100 million. Okay, so make your decisions from authentic sources. That would be like step two. And step three would be like freaking take decision, man. Some people just wait so long. Like, okay, you're decided, now start moving in that direction, right? Okay, I'm going to move into this direction. I'm thinking about that for 3 years. So many people that you know just want to do something. I want to do modeling. Okay, and I'm thinking about that for the past 3 years. And now I have whole family, I have a kid, and now I can't take risks. So I'll have to think about this. My parents are saying this. You can still do it, but now you have a new set of problems, and you're probably going to analyze that for 5 years more till you have more problems, and it freaking never ends, right? So I think that nothing more can be said about this decision making. I hope that it is clear to you guys. If there are more questions, please let me know down in the comment section. Always appreciated. Now, I'm going to get to this topic of self help books. And first of all, what you need to understand is just stop making decisions or judging a person based on a 1 minute shot, right? Now I cannot blame you much because that talk was that small segment of 1 minute was from a art of speaking live session, and that guy was just asking the question of, I read a lot of self-help book, but I'm never able to apply it. I was just like a friendly one-on-one conversation that this is what I think about it, right? And it was kind of my mistake as well. Now I realize that I cannot just give you that 1 minute without the perspective. So I just decided right now that I'm going to find out that video somewhere and share the entire 20-minute video. I think I'm going to do it on a membership because that's not worth just public, because it's a conversation you're just seeing one side, and it's going to be free on my website. A lot of you guys have already found out about it. There's a whole new kind of free course that I've created, which is competitive examination guide, which used to be a playlist on YouTube, but I removed it from YouTube because nobody finds that classification on YouTube. YouTube just gives you one playlist and like 100 videos are there. But on the website, you will find like divided into, okay, month February you should be doing this, month June you'll be doing this, July follow this, like that. It was my plan for a long time, wanted to publish it in February. Still officially I'm going to publish it in February after gate examination, but a lot of people just went to the website, found it free, and just signed in. I think 20-30 people did, and after I've talked about this, I'm pretty sure the number is going to ramp up more. But yeah, competitive aspirants, I've not left you. Don't worry about it. It's just that my method is different now. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the self-help after a sip of water. All right, so this whole short video that was created, it was created on 26th of December, and the title is Self-Help Books Are Bullshit, which I kind of stand by, although a small thing that might have hurt a few people is that I kind of made fun of the 12 more rules of life by Jordan Peterson. First of all, you need to understand that I respect Jordan Peterson a lot. Okay, and there was one comment which was so funny, man. Hold on, I will try to find it out. No, I do not know. He kind of probably deleted it because it was felt something like Jordan Peterson. he's saying like he probably does not know who Jordan Peterson is. Okay, so first of all, I've been listening to Jordan Peterson for over 2 to 3 years now. I know he became super popular. I do not know. Yeah, popular. You can say that. And famous ever since 2016 after that whole thing that was going on in Canada about the protest and all. Don't want to get into it. But I firmly believe that if someone should be publishing a self-help book, it is people like Jordan Peterson, Andrew Huberman, David Goggins, uh, people like them, right? Who are mostly focused towards trying to improve a person's life, right? And freaking Jordan Peterson does it for a living. He's professional at it. He's a clinical psychologist. So there's no argument that he's so well accomplished. And in no way, shape, or form I was trying to say that he should not have published a self-help book, but and you should not trust any man's word until he says but now you should trust everything that I have said so far, but that 12 rules to life is kind of stupid, right? The title of the book is stupid, and especially publishing another 112 more rules to life 3 years later, I think it's funny. Okay, it's not even stupid, it's kind of funny, right? That's what it is. He could have named it anything else and I would have never talked about it. But publishing a book which says 12 rules of life, and you're like, just 12. I need only 12, right? Yeah, these are just the 12 rules of life that you need. And you read that book for 5 times in the next 2 years. Like 1 year later, no, 12 more rules to life. And you're like, hey, man, make your mind, right? So Yeah, you can just say rules of life and just keep on adding them, but it's just funny. Okay, nothing else. I respect the man so much, and especially right now I hate it so much what he has to go through. And the guy is old, but he's still traveling the world and trying to spread the message. And there was one interview of his. It had a little bit of purple background, but what I like the most is that this guy can maintain his calm and composure so much while in a debate, right? I can't say it is an argument because he kept his calm so much. Yeah, this one you should definitely 43 million views. Kind of maybe you already watched it. But Jordan Peterson, they have named a debate on gender pay gap, campus protest, and postmodernism. Okay, it is on the YouTube channel of Channel 4 News. It is such inspirational. Like, I can just disagree with everything that he has said over there. I'm not saying I do, but I did not even pay attention what his stand was. But anyone who wants to improve their debate skills, speaking skills, communication skills, take this as a gold standard, because understand that this is not on Jordan Peterson's YouTube channel. This is on a channel which wanted to show Jordan Peterson, like they wanted to kind of demean Peterson, and their idea was that we are going to publish it and Peterson is going to get a little bit of hate. But the opposite happened. That was 5 years ago. So I'm just saying the man has great speaking skills, communication skills, business skills. He understands the psychology very well. Is strong enough and tough enough to say what he wants to say. But 12 more rules to life is kind of funny. Okay, that's all that I'm saying. Now, with that out of the way, what I want to get into is, does self-help book really works? And full disclosure, I have read one branch of self-help books. Okay, I think you can call it self. Yeah, I'm kind of sure. Or you can decide. Secret, right? Have you heard it? Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And Rhonda Byrne wrote a whole series of books. I've read another book called Hero, and there was another book. There were a bunch of books. I think there was one called Magic. There were a lot of books. Okay, and I read all of this during 2013, 2014. So I would be 19, 20 years old. And anyone at that age who wants to do something in life looks for answer, like, what do I need to do? And I completely get it, because I'm going to even read out comments which are opposing me, and I love it. Okay, I love it when you contradict me, helps me to think. I'm not perfect, I'm growing as well. And I'll just share an argument if you, or a discussion if I have it over here. So few of you guys were saying that if we do not read these books, how are we supposed to learn? And that's my problem, that what if what you're learning does not really work? And a lot of times someone sitting in New York writes a self-help book, and you apply that in Asansol in India, and it does not work, right? And a lot of things that would work in Los Angeles would not work in, let us say, Bangalore. And you go with that mindset, and you go in completely wrong direction sometimes. Like, I firmly believe that what was written in secret was so much off. Like, you cannot say that this is wrong, but also you cannot prove that this is right. And that's the problem with a lot of self-help book. It is not provable. And that was again another set of arguments in the comment section, is that if it did not work for you, it's your mistake. And that's what I'm having a problem with. Because the moment you say that, the writer can get away with any garbage. He can or she can write anything, and at the end say, it's your fault, you did not apply it. What if that person actually did apply? It did not work. That person is going to live his life from now on thinking that it would not work for me. I kind of need to live a life which is second class because I did everything. Like that was my problem as well. I did everything what the book secret said. Oh, positive thinking, oh, visual thinking. I'll visualize my future and all those stuff, and nothing worked. And and you might say you did not apply, but I know that I applied it. I know that I applied it and it did not work for me. So so you can either say that I'm a liar over here, or you can say maybe Ashish is saying the truth, and maybe there are self-help books that does not work even after you apply dedicatedly for 3 years. Maybe, right? Again, nobody knows. But another problem is that, okay, Jordan Peterson is very well accomplished. He has dealt with thousands of clients, clinical psychologist. He writes a book. There has to be some truth in it. You can improve your life even by a little bit. Agreed, worth the money. But what if every next YouTuber starts to write a self-help book and starts publishing it, and thousands of people are buying it, and you know that it's a business. It's not for free. It's not for charity. It's a business. The writer is making money out of it. I've even seen like YouTubers writing like 2 to 3 YouTubers. A lot of times they collaborate and like writers and co-writers and or co-authors, and they publish a book in like 3 weeks. Freaking ebook, publish it. It's not for free either. So I don't even really care about the money. Even if you spend like 1,000 rupees on a book, it's cheaper, right? And that's when you start applying. Okay, it did not work because you did not apply, because obviously the author has to be right. I followed him for 3 years. Obviously he has to be right. But a lot of times you don't even look at the credentials or credibility of the author, especially in India. Like in US, if you see the geography right now, the most accomplished YouTubers are also the YouTubers with a lot of subscribers. Like if you look at that guy from NASA, I'm forgetting his name, is like one of the biggest YouTubers. How can I forget his name? But he spent some time in NASA, makes great videos, having like, I don't know, 10 million subscribers or something. He worked in NASA, he worked in Apple, he worked in the Mars rover project. So comment it down below, guys. I have the habit of forgetting when I exactly need it. So that's an accomplished person running a YouTube channel. Andrew Huberman is a professor at Stanford. Again, Jordan Peterson used to be a professor. I do not know what his current status is. And you'll see a lot of accomplished people. But when it comes to India, there are a lot of people who just started a YouTube channel. And if you look at the credentials, there ain't much. So if they start writing self-help books, did you really look at the credentials and accomplishments, right? So you will have to think about that, who you are reading. And you cannot be this blind man and say that this person has to be right because he's having 5 million subscribers or something. And anyone who could not get results is because he or she did not apply it, because then he or she is going to live a life thinking that I'm not meant for it, right? So that is one thing. And connected to these again, every next YouTuber writing a self-help book is very similar to every next YouTuber starting a course on how to make money and stuff. So again, they say the same thing. Like, if it did not work, you did not apply. There's no refund because you did not apply it. Okay. It's very similar, right? You are making a course or you're writing a book about something that cannot be proved, right? You cannot prove it, at least when it comes to, like, let us say email marketing or something, or if that person is teaching you let us say some coding skills or some speaking skill. Someone brought it in the comment section about Dale Carnegie book of Art of Public Speaking. That's not a self-help book, man. You cannot call that as a self-help book. A self-help book, at least what I think, is something that teaches you how to be more successful in life and how to live your life. These things which are actually not provable. Again, because what works for me might not work for you. So There's no way to find out. And that's what a person can capitalize on. Like you'll never be able to prove it. And again, same goes with online courses. So you'll have to think about what content you're consuming and be very practical about it, because nowadays the content is increasing so much. So that was my main argument. Now there are a lot of comments. So a lot of people are saying, yeah, no, some self-help book works. Agreed. Also, some people are saying some self-help book works for some people. Agreed. But then again, honestly, if you answer, like most people who have read a lot of self-help books, like let us say you read a self-help book 5 years ago, most likely you're not applying it, most likely, because that's the thing about that's what his question was as well. That was just a random question in an art of speaking class, that Ashish, I do not know why, but I'm not able to apply. So my idea was, and my way of saying was that if you're not able to apply, that means that it is not something that you see in your everyday life. Because if there was something written in that self-help book which is applicable to life, then that means that you will see in your everyday life as well. And the moment you see, oh, that was written in that book, I need to apply it over here. And when you apply, you are not going to forget. That's what he was saying. A lot of things that I read, I'm just forgetting. And it's just gone. So it's kind of a waste of time. And I was again having an argument, a discussion learned from Jordan Peterson, a discussion with another guy. And he said that, don't you think that reading books make you interesting? And I said, man, I do not want to offend anyone, but quite honestly, the people who read a lot of books, in my experience, are kind of the most boring people. And this is a very strong statement. And I know that I might get some hate, but it's fine, because I'm just going to give you appearance once a week and then vanish. But it's just what I have always believed. Okay. It's really not as bad as what it is not really as bad as what Kanye West is saying. So all I'm saying is that people who read a lot of books, like one to two books a week or so, what I've found, like I've met just 5 to 10 of them, and they're kind of the most boring people. I might be they're so intellectual that I find them boring. Oh no, sorry about that. But what I think is that when you consume so much information from external sources, and you look for information always in a book or a documentary, you stop developing your own ideas. I've seen this. So if you're reading a lot of books, please be careful that you are also thinking about your own ideas, experiencing life, and developing your own philosophies as well. I think that is important, and that's what makes you more interesting. You've never met a person in a party and he says, oh, you know what Jordan Peterson said, bro? It's so interesting. This is how you should live your life. No, that person is not interesting. Oh, this is what happened to me, man. You know what I learned from this? Oh, yeah, tell me more. I think that person is much more interesting. So that's what I think. And I am open to your ideas. Like if you think that, no, Ashish, I think that you are wrong over there. And I'm like, well, let's discuss it in the next week. Okay. So I'm going to end this podcast over here. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Now, I have a meeting right now in 5 minutes. So I'm going to take your questions in the next one. Put it down in the comment section. Love your comment. Love your support. I'm more active on Instagram these days, so you can follow me over there. I'm putting on stories and all of whatever is just going on. Uh, I'm more active on Instagram just because it is much easier, much quicker. You just fucking take a picture and just post it as a story, and like people are connected. They know what's going on in your life, and I'm not making any lip sync, so don't worry about it. And YouTube, yeah, YouTube is good. it's just like YouTube has become such a small part of my life now, because what I'm mainly doing is podcast, and it is going on all the audio platforms, and the shorts and clips are going on Instagram and all. So I think that it is true for a lot of social media creators as well, that YouTube is becoming a small part, but it's a very important part. I respect the YouTube community the most. All right, I'm going to end this podcast over here. All the important links are down in the description box. Thank you for your support. I'll see all of you in the next one. Till then, bye.